She vanished without a trace. Michelle Parker disappeared 6 years ago today. Her parents and children still don't know what happened to her.
A family still searching for answers about what happened to their daughter almost a decade now.
Michelle Parker.
Michelle Parker.
Michelle Parker.
Michelle Parker.
Michelle Parker disappeared. She was last seen in 2012.
A determined single mother, Michelle Parker, faced the challenge of supporting her 3 children, including a set of toddler twins, while working 2 jobs. In 2011, she worked as a bartender at The Barn, a popular bar in Sanford, Florida. Her dedication didn't stop there. She also embarked on an entrepreneurial journey by starting her own airbrush tanning business. Despite the demanding schedule of 2 working jobs and taking care of her children, Michelle was determined to create a better life for her family. She recognized the potential in the beauty industry and decided to venture into the world of airbrush tanning. At the same time, she was also in cosmetology school. Michelle and Dale Smith, the father of her twins, had a complex relationship. Prior to meeting Dale, Michelle already had a son from a previous relationship. Dale and Michelle crossed paths in 2006 at Cowboys, a popular hotshot in Orlando, on the South Orange Blossom Trail. By the summer of 2011, Michelle and Dale's relationship had taken a turn for the worse, and when Michelle disappeared in November, they were no longer together. The same day Michelle went missing, the former couple appeared together at the People's Court. Earlier in the year, Michelle and Dale filmed an episode of the court series. They were feuding because Michelle allegedly threw her $5,000 engagement ring off a balcony while engaged, and Dale wanted financial compensation. The judge presiding over the case ultimately ruled in favor of Dale, and consequently, Michelle was ordered to bear half the cost of the ring. However, before reaching this decision, Michelle took the opportunity to present some important facts about her and Dale's previous relationship to the judge. Michelle wanted to ensure that the judge understood their relationship circumstances before making a final ruling. In the episode of People's Court, Michelle stated that Dale had engaged in relationships with 7 other women while they were together. Furthermore, Michelle brought to everyone's attention that Dale had a violent side, particularly when drinking. One incident that highlighted Dale's violent tendencies occurred in 2009 during a heated argument. Michelle told the court how, in a rage, he punched the window of Michelle's car while holding their toddler daughter. Dale's violent history can be traced back to the 1990s. During that time, he was involved in a brutal bar fight that resulted in the death of a man. His violent tendencies extended even further without stopping at the bar fight. While serving in the Marine Corps, he acted disturbingly aggressively toward his ex-wife, Shannon Smith. Due to Dale's actions, Shannon was hospitalized with severe head injuries. Dale's violent behavior caught up with him. He was dishonorably charged from the Marine Corps for his actions towards Shannon. The People's Court episode featuring Michelle and Dale aired at 2 p.m. on November 17th, 2011. Michelle's day began with a breakfast date with her boyfriend of 1 month, Nathan Mitchell. Afterwards, she went to her mother's salon where she stayed for the rest of the afternoon to avoid watching the television. Michelle's mother mentioned that her daughter found the show's filming humiliating. She only did it because she felt she couldn't be solely responsible for the cost of the ring. On November 17th at 3:18 p.m., Michelle's black Hummer was captured on camera entering Dale's apartment complex to drop off their twins. This event took place in accordance with their agreed-upon custody arrangement. Unfortunately, due to the camera's positioning, it did not record Michelle's vehicle leaving the complex. At approximately 3:30 p.m. that afternoon, Michelle's 11-year-old son stood outside an empty home. Confusion and worry crept into his thoughts as he realized his mother had not yet returned. Unsure of what to do, he reached out to his grandmother, Michelle's mom. It was unlike his mother not to be there to greet him after school. Now, 1 hour had elapsed and there was no sign of Michelle returning home. As time passed, Michelle's family's concern began to grow. Worried about Michelle's whereabouts, her brother decided to contact her through a text message. He sent her a simple question, asking where she was. In response, Michelle returned a single word text that read, Waterford. This brief reply from Michelle was uncharacteristic, as she was known for her lengthy and lively texts. The Parker family's initial concern now deepened. Michelle's loved ones were puzzled when they received a text that seemed to refer to Waterford Lakes, a large neighborhood known for its big shopping center and numerous restaurants and movie theaters. This location immediately brought to mind the shopping center 30 minutes away from Michelle's home. It was strange because Michelle was not known to hang out around that area. Why would she have been there when she was supposed to be home with her son? Now, despite the odd text message, Michelle's loved ones hoped she would attend her 7 p.m. shift at the barn, but she never did. Michelle's sister was more worried and reported Michelle missing to the authorities. At approximately 8 p.m., Michelle's phone unexpectedly shut down. The sudden power off left everyone puzzled about what had occurred to Michelle and her phone. Before this incident, Michelle had been in high spirits, which made her disappearance on the day she was scheduled to appear at the People's Court a more than a mere coincidence to her family. Michelle's family was filled with anxiety and concern. They went to great lengths to raise awareness about her disappearance and enlisted the help of the Today Show to share her story. During the interviews, they spoke about her desperate search for efforts, including scouring ditches, checking under trains and dumpsters, and praying that Michelle would be found safe. Realizing that time was of the essence, Michelle's family wasted no time and immediately reached out to their friends for support. They organized search parties to comb through every corner of the city, determined to find any trace of Michelle. The relentless search took a toll on everyone involved, with many volunteers suffering from painful sunburns as they tirelessly scoured the area. In an attempt to reach as many people as possible, thousands of flyers were posted throughout Orlando. Michelle's face and the details of her disappearance became familiar as her name resonated in households across the city. The community rallied together, spreading the word and keeping Michelle in their thoughts and prayers. Now, when Thanksgiving came by a few days later, Michelle's family didn't celebrate the holiday. Instead, they were dealing with heart-wrenching searches, terrified and dredging lakes, looking under bushes for a body. The anguish they experienced was unimaginable, as parents should never have to go through such a harrowing ordeal. Amid her terrifying ordeal, Michelle's mother desperately pleaded for her daughter's safe return. The thought of her beloved child being found lifeless was unbearable. Her heart yearned for Michelle as to be found alive, not dead. As she grappled with the overwhelming fear and uncertainty, she considered the possibility of a carjacking. Perhaps Michelle's abductor had targeted her due to the allure of an expensive car. Michelle's mother passionately appealed to the person responsible for her daughter's disappearance, hoping they would recognize their actions' gravity and return her to safety. Michelle's mother couldn't help but think of the circumstances that may have attracted the abductor's attention. Her big black Hummer, adorned with the logo of her tanning business, may have made her a target. It was a striking vehicle, impossible to miss, drawing attention wherever it passed. There were doubts surrounding Michelle's disappearance, as rumors circulated that she was involved with something else and had run away with him. However, her boyfriend Nathan vehemently denied these allegations, stating they were happy together. Nathan was seen in public, desperately searching for Michelle. His eyes were filled with tears. His emotional display even caught the attention of the news as he pleaded for her safe return. Despite the initial suspicions, the police investigation cleared Nathan as a suspect. They determined that he had no involvement in Michelle's disappearance. Now, because Michelle worked at one of the most popular bars in Sanford, the police thought maybe a patron from there had become obsessed with her, followed her, and stalked her, and could be responsible for her disappearance. The police wanted to eliminate that possibility that a patron from a bar could have been involved in Michelle's disappearance, so they decided to investigate the bar and its patrons as a precautionary measure, yet they couldn't find anything. In the initial days of the search for Michelle, Dale remained at home, prioritizing the care of her twins and her 11-year-old son. Due to this responsibility, Dale did not spend as much time outside trying to locate Michelle. Despite this, Michelle's mother came to Dale's defense on Good Morning America, stating that Dale cooperated with the police. She mentioned that Dale allowed the authorities to enter his home and even handed over his computer for investigation. One day, after Michelle disappeared, the authorities made a startling discovery. Michelle's Hummer was parked on the other side of town, far from where she lived. To their surprise, it was located in the Walden Palms apartment parking lot. This area was not where the police expected to find Michelle's Hummer. It was a rough, rundown area that Michelle had no business in. For years, a decal promoted Michelle's tanning business, proudly displaying her phone number and exuding a radiant glow. However, the decal mysteriously disappeared when the police found her black Hummer the day she went missing. It seemed someone had deliberately tampered with it, trying to make it less identifiable. During their investigation, detectives uncovered video footage of Michelle taken hours before she disappeared. The video showed Michelle at a KFC restaurant at noon, where she was captured on CCTV placing an order. This footage was significant as it was the last known video that clearly showed Michelle and revealed a clue related to her disappearance. In the video, Michelle's truck was seen with decals on the side. These decals were still intact during her visit to the KFC. After Michelle had been missing for 9 days, the police suddenly and dramatically entered Dale Smith's parents' home. Multiple vehicles filled with officers and SWAT members descended upon the property, creating a scene of intense activity. However, if anything was found during the search, the police never revealed what that was. On the heels of Michelle's disappearance, the Orlando Police Department conducted a highly anticipated press conference nearly 2 weeks later. The event brought together Michelle's troubled family and the local community, eager for any investigation updates. The atmosphere was tense, as everyone hoped something significant would transpire during this crucial gathering. During the press conference, authorities revealed a breakthrough in the case. They announced that they had identified a prime suspect, Dale Smith. Yvonne's mother pleaded with Dale to step forward if he had made a mistake. She wanted him to understand that although they would forgive him, it was crucial to have Michelle return home. However, after the press conference, Dale was never arrested. After being named a suspect, Dale Smith displayed aggressive behavior towards a news photographer. He lunged at the photographer, knocking him to the ground. To make matters worse, those accompanying Dale jeered at the photographer, creating a hostile environment. The police, concerned for the safety of Dale and Michelle's children, took them away from him. 2 days later, Dale found himself back in court. To the surprise of everyone present, the judge granted him custody of his children. On the day their mother disappeared, the police conducted interviews with the 3-year-old twins, according to Dale's attorney. They asked the children if they had heard any yelling or seen any blood. However, the police never confirmed these interviews happened. 3 weeks later, Michelle's phone was found in Lake Conway. Dive teams located it inside of its hot pink case. Interestingly, the phone's last known location was just 1 mile from where it was discovered. Remarkably, the phone was in great condition, despite being stored underwater. The location of the phone was quite intriguing, actually. It was found on the route from Dale's home to his mother's, specifically on a back road rather than a main thoroughfare. 2 years after Michelle disappeared, detectives revealed a key piece of evidence: the last known images of her Hummer. Furthermore, it was noted that the decals, which were previously on the vehicle, were no longer present. At the same press conference, the police announced they thought more than one person was responsible for Michelle's disappearance. Michelle's parents had been longing to see her twins, but unfortunately, Dale has not allowed them to do so. Adding to the situation's complexity, Michelle's oldest son has moved and lives with his birth father out of Florida. Yvonne, Michelle's mother, has been a passionate advocate for grandparents' right in visitation. She firmly believes that grandparents should have the opportunity to maintain a relationship with their grandchildren. Michelle's mother has been actively involved in the crusade to pass new laws in Florida which aim to protect grandparents' right in similar situations. However, despite her efforts, Yvonne has not directly benefited from these laws, as Dale decided to relocate to Tennessee and start a new life. Dale vehemently denied involvement in Michelle's disappearance, refuting the allegations against him. Michelle's family expressed their distress, stating that the most difficult aspect of the situation was the lack of answers. They are plagued by the uncertainty of whether Michelle is still alive or if she has tragically lost her life. During an interview on the Today Show, Michelle's mother bravely opened up about the immense hardship she had endured since her daughter's disappearance. She described the persistent feeling of attending a funeral daily as the pain and grief never dissipate. The weight and sorrow constantly loomed over her, making it impossible to escape. Michelle's family's absence of closure and constant anguish has become unbearable. They yearn for resolution and desperately hope to find out the truth about what happened to Michelle. Until then, they must navigate the overwhelming sorrow that accompanies the uncertainty of her fate.